And we are live, gentlemen. Welcome back to a normal stream.
Normal.
We're following it up from
Normal.
your legendary performance as seen on Baldur's Gate 3. My favorite part was especially like the first half hour.
Yeah,
That's
of the clip.
deleted.
we got rid of all of that footage.
That was my favorite part. You know, getting the setup, trying to test audio, and Dylan failing, every audio check.
I had the most generic character ever because I didn't spend any time on character creator this time, and then Dylan did, and I was like, well,
Felt
maybe
left
I should have.
Had a lot of time to wait before we could actually stream.
We figured it out in the end, and
did.
Let's just say it has tens of views right now.
Yeah.
It
So
Dozens.
It's almost 24, if I
mean,
remember right.
It's impressive.
It's pretty crazy.
But it was fun. I enjoyed watching it. I wasn't able to join, but you guys did a great job. I thought it was really fun
it was a lot
and
of fun.
lighthearted. We'll have to do some other games like that.
I know we could.
Are we gonna try and beat the game?
Well,
That's a lot
See,
to
the thing
commit to.
is if we do that, I would want to do the one with Billy. I think we would all need to stream.
Yeah,
But then I'm not on PlayStation.
Well, no.
Well,
we
we'd
can
have to
do
start over.
PC.
and we'd have to stream from our PC.
Well, see, so this is why I was bitching to you guys. Is you were sitting there giving me a hard time saying that I was the one holding you guys back.
What?
I thought
From
you were
playing
just bitching because
BG3.
that's what you do.
That's
what I
what you
do.
do.
But then in particular, I said, great job, guys. Start the one playthrough that you know I can never join. That was big brain of you guys.
Hey, we've been trying to get you to play Baldur's Gate for like 2
and
months.
I have not
Yeah.
done anything to hold it back.
You haven't done anything to try.
Yeah. Well, I just want
yes,
you to
I have
say.
not. I have not done that. What?
I just want you to say, "Hey guys, you want to play Baldur's Gate?"
Yeah, I'm not driving that bus.
Just
You
for
guys
once.
can drive it.
Wow.
Just for once.
I would like for you
I
to
got
put
like
in a little
50
effort.
hours in the game, and I was satisfied. I was happy with what my purchase.
You didn't even make it to Act 3.
I did not make it to Act 3. No. I don't. You know what? I kind of
Act
did
3
drop.
is when the meat of the
You
game.
said like it's like half the game, right?
it's like half the game is Act 3.
I did drop.
In fact,
that
a
game
lot of
pretty
people
full turkey.
get drained, and they never beat the game because of how meaty Act 3 is.
Wow.
Because it's like so much that like it burns the player out.
I wonder
At
why-
least if you're a completionist.
I wonder why. Yeah, I wonder why that. I feel like this game or this type of style of game or genre lends itself to that because I have plenty of friends who have played Divinity, and they never even made it anywhere in like Act 2 or 3. They loved Act 1 so much, and they would replay it, and it was like I don't know why, but it's almost like like in other games, if you don't beat it, you feel like you're missing out on something. But I feel like I got the Baldur's Gate experience of playing at least Act 1 and like the majority of Act 2. I felt like I kind of experienced it. And same thing with Divinity. We really only went through Act 1. I still feel like I played that game and got a ton of enjoyment out of it and had
What?
fun.
I don't think it's one like with the people that you're talking about. I think it might be different from what you're experiencing because at least with me, like with Divinity and with Baldur's Gate, it's not that I feel like I have.
I thought you were reaching. Like,
I know.
It's okay.
It's okay. Talk to me, baby.
It's not that I have like I feel like I've experienced it. It's that I know it's a huge time commitment, and unless I put that aside, it's
Are you ready?
my brain has a really hard time sinking into it. Like I also have this problem with like any like the Persona game,
Yeah.
and like I need to if I start it, I need to know I'm gonna dedicate I'm gonna dedicate a part of my life to that until I beat it. And I feel it's the same with Baldur's Gate. It's like first act, you don't necessarily need to dedicate part of your life yet, but once you get past the first.
Beautiful.
How long?
There we go. Well, cut out Dylan's part, so that's
good.
that's fine.
You know,
I think it's all about structuring. It's all about structuring your life. So like,
Thanks, Victory.
if you can tell yourself, I'm going to play this game every Thursday between 8 and 11, and then you stick to that, then you might beat it a lot slower than you would, but I feel like you won't get burnt out either if you just like have a scheduled time to.
Yeah,
do
I've never
something.
once been able to do that in my life. Like, I'll get way into a game, play it for fucking 12 hours in a day, and then play it 1 hour the next day.
I've been able to do that with games that I've already beaten and sunk a lot of time into. Like anytime I go in and play Mass Effect, I don't just go through and I'll be like, oh,
It's
Mass Effect
methodical.
Monday, but only because I've already sunk all that time into it beforehand. But what I mean by that is if we play it together, if we
Yeah.
tell ourselves every whatever day,
Thursday or
every Thursday is Baldur's Gate Day between this time and this time, and maybe
Now
go
it's
over.
set.
It's set, and then you're not only holding yourself accountable, you're holding the people you play with accountable as well.
yeah.
And I think it makes it easier.
Am I able to join a PlayStation chat group, like what do they call them, like PS Party or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
party.
you can through an app as well.
I was gonna say, can I do it through my phone?
I think you can. Yeah.
'Cause maybe I can live commentate. Like, oh, and here's Kyle with the move.
Dylan's going in
Oh
for
my
the.
God, Dylan with the execution. Oh my, you can.
We should
do that with the
alternate.
fucking
If we
turn-based
do,
game.
you should be the commentator, and then we should alternate POVs weekly.
Ooh,
Okay.
there you go. I do like that.
We're looking at Dylan's. As you can see, Dylan is a horrible Baldur's Gate player. He wasted
Dylan's
this
currently
move.
AFK.
That was another thing. I wish that you can put both of our perspectives on screen somehow.
That would have been cool, like
But-
a split screen.
I don't.
We need like a massive production company to pick us up.
Yeah, like,
Doctor Disrespect.
Most of this is actually all of what we're talking about here is available through PC. I was just saying.
That's why I'm saying we start the Baldur's Gate playthrough.
Saying. I'm just saying.
Or heck, we could do Helldivers. You stream it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute. Because I can't join. You're on PlayStation, and we couldn't play together anyway. But
On Helldivers. yeah.
Helldivers we could.
Suicide Squad.
It's weird with my super ultra wide monitor because the resolution gets wonky. So I'd have to do some changes
You
there.
just had to throw that in there. On my super ultra wide.
super sexy ultra wides.
I paid a lot of money for this.
And the resolution's all
Productivity.
weird.
Oh my god.
It'll make you eye-gasm.
It's so
Just looking.
Okay, well, tonight we're talking about top 5 expansions of all. Thank you.
And you won't guess what's number one.
You will not
You won't.
guess what is number 1. I want to go last on this category.
Dylan, you brought it up.
Okay.
You go first.
Do you I don't know, Billy has some guesses. Do we want to let him guess?
Blood and Wine.
Is that in your top 5?
That's not
It's
in your
in my
top,
top
5. Okay,
five.
that's what
Oh, okay.
I'm just throwing out top 5. It's probably
Okay.
in both of yours.
I was
top
surprised
five.
it wasn't even in your top 5. I was like, what?
No, it's in my
It's
top
in your
five.
top 5 as
It's
well.
in my
right?
top 5.
Okay, Citadel. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Citadel.
I think you
there.
can guess all but 2.
Ooh. Phantom Liberty.
Mhm.
Just kidding. You got. I mean, is that in both of yours? Phantom Liberty.
I mean, I
Um,
think this is where we might diverge, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 3 of them.
These last 2 I don't think you'll get.
Can I share one that's on my list? I guess now. Your guys are going to be blown away.
Map pack
Huge.
from Modern Warfare 2.
Season 3 zombie mode. No. Huge disclaimer on this. I am not a DLC expansion guy. It's not what I don't really ever buy them or play them. But surprise alert, I don't have a top 5. I just have one. And but I want to make a shout out to this one because as I thought back through the list.
So this isn't your number 1.
This is not my number
Okay.
1, but this is a shout out.
Shout out.
I thought about the Citadel one, which is so funny because it's so not what I'm typically into, but I did have fun with it. But it's not that one. It's the Shadow Broker,
The Shadow Broker.
Oh, okay.
and let me tell you why.
Yeah.
I felt like that storyline really.
With
I
Best
don't.
Girl.
What?
Best Girl Liara.
Yes. So we'll talk about
He
that.
said yeah. He said yeah.
I feel like. How much you guys love Liara. Well, I know, I get it. But Liara is this character that's beloved by the franchise.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I feel like she doesn't really get full service as a character without that DLC.
Definitely.
And
100%.
Because like basically the second game, she's like not even.
I mean, if it weren't for that, she literally has maybe like 20 minutes of screen time.
Yeah. And so like and then you kind of you're like what the fuck is this Shadow Broker shit, you know? And then you go through that whole first off the gameplay experience of that DLC is actually really fun. I love the dynamic where like you like have to like board a ship or something like that, and you have to like make your way and go and kill like you have to go and
Or
kill
not
like the
Yachi.
what?
No, never mind. That's the wrong name.
Yag.
It's
Yag.
like the mole guy or whatever,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
He's the Shadow Broker.
And I think that mission starts, you have to like kind of make your way through like
Shepard
this maze.
punches him.
Because all of our projectiles are deflecting off of him. I guess we're doing this the old-fashioned way.
Right?
Fucking giant just fist fighting this dude.
So I enjoyed that that gameplay experience, and I also thought from a storytelling perspective, it was delivered through quality gameplay with great story.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. So
It definitely
was
was
funny that one was actually the one that came to mind.
It had some fan servicey moments, but it wasn't like how Citadel DLC was
Citadel was all
fan
fan
service.
Yeah.
So like it definitely was still like a driving force in the story. It has some pretty epic set pieces as well, like that whole battle on the top of the Shadow Broker ship when you're
That's
on that
the
so
one I
cool.
was referencing.
that
yes.
yeah the planet that is
Yes.
You have to stay in the perfect spot. Like
it's constantly inside the
Yep.
eye of the storm, basically like Jupiter.
Yeah.
like it
in
that
order to
is,
survive, because otherwise it would be destroyed.
And that was some of the most fun gameplay in all three games, in my opinion, was that DLC.
and it's like has just the right amount of cheese, but it's like the good hero type of cheese. We memed it, but I love that when he's like, all our projectiles have no
Yeah.
effect. The energy is absorbing it, and then Shepard cracks his knuckles or her knuckles, depending. And he, like, guess we're doing this the old-fashioned way.
And it's this giant.
and it's like
brawl.
basically like Captain America fist fighting Hulk.
Yeah.
like
And it works. Shepard wins.
I love it. So anyway, that was my. I didn't think you guys would have ever thought in a million years.
That's a
that
great
was
one. I
on,
didn't think
but I
so.
enjoyed that
Yeah.
one a lot.
And
So
then-
I actually had a hard time narrowing down because I only chose one from Mass Effect.
Same.
So, let
and
me ask
mine
you-
wasn't Citadel actually.
oh, interesting. I want to make one last guess here. Is it the Skyrim one?
No, I love Skyrim,
What was it?
but that's not in my top 5. There's Dragonborn and
It's not that
Dawnguard.
one.
Oh yeah.
that was that one. Okay, then I don't have any guesses. So you're right. I got 3, but not 2.
All right. So number 1,
Let's start with 5. Build up.
number 5. Okay. Undead Nightmare.
Oh man,
Red
Dylan.
Dead.
Okay.
Throwing it way back.
That's
Red Dead
That's
1.
in my list too.
You guys are
Me
literally
and Kyle's
the
are gonna
same
be
fucking person,
very
dude.
similar.
I have one that I know you didn't pick.
Watch it be the same one that I know you didn't pick. But yeah, Undead Nightmare. I love.
4 of the 5. Oh my god, dude.
I'm pretty sure he picked the other ones.
That's
I mean, now
hilarious.
I know he didn't pick. One. Well, I'll get there. But yeah, Undead Nightmare. I love that expansion, and I remember having so much fun with it. And I wish I should go back and replay it, but from what I remember when I played it originally, they added so much content to the game that like was optional. Like I remember collecting all the horses of, death, war, all famine,
Yeah.
and how fun that was, killing the jackrabbit and the chupacabra and
The unicorn that you
The
could find
yeah.
in Mexico.
and so like it added so much just fun, wacky stuff, and
Yeah.
the story itself was great.
It's long too.
It was long.
It's
Yeah.
if I remember right, it's like at least 10 hours of gameplay, and it's not a it was a by today's standards it was a fairly cheap DLC if I remember right. It was like $15.
Yeah, it was
Right.
cheap.
You know?
But yeah, I would say Undead Nightmare was my number 5. I do like Dawnguard from Skyrim. I was almost had that for my number 5.
Oh wow.
But Dawnguard, I have a lot of fun with that one. The vampires, werewolves, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Number 4, Citadel. Now I know
Citadel?
that's different because Kyle
Actually,
said
Yeah.
that for me. I thought would be higher on your list.
I
I'm shocked it's at 4.
I do like it.
With the sheer reverence you both speak of that. DLC.
For the series as a whole, but I mean,
Yeah.
if you're really comparing it to the quality that some expansions
Yeah.
brought,
That's
it's
what I'm more
basically a
going on.
party.
yeah,
It's a smaller expansion versus some of these other ones that I'm gonna go over are huge.
Yeah.
Like
Phantom Liberty.
I mean, I don't need to talk about Citadel much because we've talked about it enough. So I'll just move on. But Old World Blues from New Vegas,
yeah.
that one is amazing.
I-
Is that the one
Almost-
you know he doesn't have?
That's what I-
almost put that. I would put that at like 6 or 7.
I love it. Is full of comedy and just weird sci-fi, but it's so fun. Like, did you ever play New Vegas?
No.
The whole plot is there's this this brain think tank like that survived of like 5 scientists out in the desert, and these scientists got put into robots, and like they have been doing experiments for like how many years since the bombs dropped?
Hundreds.
For 100 years,
yeah.
they've just been doing random crazy ass experiments, and you are pretty much you go out to where they tried all these experiments, and it's like when they tried to shrink a death claw, one of them is like obsessed with teddy bears, and then you meet this 5th or the 6th Doctor that's like evil, but he's like just pretending to be evil so that they don't escape, and it's hilarious. It's a great
Yeah.
DLC or expansion, and it's huge. It's in Montana, I think, actually.
Obsidian in its prime.
Yep. And so that one would be my number 3. Love it. Number 2 would be Blood and Wine. I thought long and hard about this one on
I can't believe
Phantom Liberty beats out Blood and Wine for me.
Wow. Is that a recency bias?
No, it's story.
He straight up says no. He's
Nope,
that
you're
confident.
wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Well, I thought
I am
about it.
not biased.
I'm more of a sci-fi guy.
Yeah.
That's just who I am, and so
Blood and
it's
Wine's
gonna
high
win.
fantasy.
It's gonna win out
Wow.
for me because it's sci-fi and the story of it. Blood and Wine has a great story, but Phantom Liberty, that story is so. I love it so much with the whole spy thriller. I wish they did another expansion in Cyberpunk,
No.
just because of the potential they had. But like Somi or Songbird, I love the whole multiple layers of each character you meet. Like you meet Idris Elba's character Reed, and he's all nice to you, but it's like after you play it the first time, you know it's a bunch of bullshit. Like you can read him for it.
Yeah.
That he got you the first time, and then like
They both get
they
you,
both did. Yeah,
if you're being honest.
Songbird also lied her ass off.
She's the
to you.
lesser of. It's either you're a corporate shill working for the man who
Yeah.
fucks you over, or you're getting fucked over by this one individual that did it because she was desperate.
Yeah,
So it's like, who do you really want to help at the end of the day?
and I mean I just love the choice at the end. Like Blood and Wine, great choices throughout, but I feel like the gray area of Phantom Liberty is so poignant in that moment. It's really, you have to think about it when Reed, like especially I do the Songbird ending. I don't ever want to side with Reed and do all that. I don't like him, but like he comes out and it's your time to make these decisions because it's on a little timer bar,
Yeah.
and it's like if you don't, he kills you
Yeah.
and you have to start over. And so it's like, in the end, there's nothing you can do to save him or to convince him not to die. But it's beautiful writing.
Cyberpunk, what CD Projekt Red, what they got good at by the time they did Cyberpunk was their writing abilities and like how they can really make you sit and soak in and feel a decision.
Well, and I feel like, especially in Phantom Liberty, it feels like your V has a lot more freedom in how he approaches situations like choice situations. Because it's like, you have Geralt, and you have Geralt who's good, you have Geralt who's like withdrawn, and like there's
the problem, not that Witcher's a problem.
Yeah.
But the issue that they run into with Witcher is it's a character that existed before the game.
Yeah.
So every decision that they include in The Witcher, they have to make it make sense in canon with how he was written before the games even came out.
Yeah.
And so with Cyberpunk, there's a lot more freedom on like how you can approach and behave and act. And it's not like, it's not drastic in the terms of like Fallout, where in Fallout 3 within 30 minutes you could blow up a city.
Yeah.
But like it's still there's much more freedom on how your V behaves and reacts to the world.
Well, yeah, and like for example, in Phantom Liberty, spoiler for the end. We already talked about it, but you take
Spoiler for the end.
you
But
take Songbird to the rocket, right? And on the way there, she tells you she's lied to you this whole time, and then she goes unconscious. Like that's her last thing she says before she passes out. And the way you can talk about it with Johnny, and first off, I want to shout out Johnny. That's an amazing. I realized what that is. Like as a writing device, he's a way for the character to think out loud.
yeah.
And it's like that's beautiful. Like it allows it to be almost like a book. But anyways, the way you can talk with Johnny about it, your V can be pissed and like just despise Songbird for what she did. Your V can be pissed, but like I'm already this far, might as well. They can also be understanding. Or they can be like, I don't know the fourth choice, but they can be understanding. Like, I love that approach to it. That you could, because for me, my V that I play as, in that moment, he is upset, but he understands that this person, like, they're desperate. And that's the only reason they did what they did. And it's like, yeah, it's fucked up, and V isn't going to get cured. But, you already helped him this far.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick to my guns. So I love the range in it, and I felt like in Blood and Wine is bigger as far as stuff you can do. Or
I think Blood and Wine's meatier for sure.
yeah,
It's and the whole map itself is bigger than Dogtown.
yeah,
Like it's a much more engrossing.
So CG Project Red just the GOAT at expansions.
they are.
They're up there for
They're
sure.
up there.
They haven't. I don't think they've released enough to call themselves like the GOAT of expansions. But like from the two, well, technically three.
Heart of Stone. is
Heart of
good.
Stone, Blood and Wine, and Phantom Liberty have all been exceptionally good. But
Well,
I would
see-
say that Phantom Liberty is more in line with Heart of Stone,
Yeah.
rather than Blood and Wine. Blood and Wine was like a whole new game. Heart of Stone was like a medium-sized expansion. That's kind of how Phantom Liberty
Kind of like
was.
Phantom. And like the only reason or why I put Phantom Liberty above it is, it's sci-fi, but also I just feel like the story itself, it hit me harder. And I feel like Heart of Stone hit me harder than Blood and Wine. I do like Blood and Wine, but looking back at it, like Heart of Stone and Phantom Liberty, those stories are, I consider them above Blood and Wine.
Dude, Hearts of Stone has, I think, the best villain.
Gontra O'Dim or
Gontra O'Dim, and probably, I mean, this is such a bold claim, but like one of the best villains in video game history is in
Wow.
Hearts of Stone
In an expansion.
in an expansion, and they
Wow.
first introduced him in the main game too. But he's so good just because he kind of represents like that sort of evil that you feel helpless to. The bad guy in Hearts of Stone, where like. I think one of the best moments in that game that really signifies like, oh shit, I don't know if I should be fucking with this guy, is he freezes time when you walk into like a tavern and Geralt's like talking to him. And then there's like this drunkard that was like kind of annoying Geralt when he walked in, and Geralt was like, get out of my way. And then at the end of the conversation, Gontra O'Dim goes up to him. He's frozen in time. He goes up to him and he's like, that was the last time you've interrupted me. And just put a spoon through his head. And then he claps, and then time comes back on, and the guy just falls dead. And it's like that's the first time we were like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Let's maybe not fuck with this guy. And he is like an all-powerful evil being that they never even really explain like
what he is.
what he is, other than this one scholar that like researched him.
And went
It was like trying to
crazy.
figure out who he was. He was on the verge of figuring it out, and Gontra O'Dim like made him blind, and then drew a circle and said, "You'll live forever as long as you never leave this circle." So it was like more of like a torture than anything. And then fucking Geralt accidentally like moves his like breaks the foundation in his house. So the guy falls outside of the circle and then like breaks his neck and dies.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, Hearts of Stone. Man, I don't know. Now I'm like, do I like that one more than Blood and Wine?
Like just story wise, I do. I think it's better. I mean, Blood and Wine has a great story, but Hearts of Stone. I mean, and there's so many good moments in Hearts of Stone, like with the wife. I forget her name.
Yeah, I forget her name too, but like the emo.
Yeah, you
Like-
go into this. Did you play?
He didn't play the,
No, not
the
the
expansions.
expansions.
Well, you go into this painting to save his or like
It's not Yennefer, right?
no,
No.
Yeah.
it's this guy's wife that you're helping, and she's kept alive in a painting, and like she's basically being tortured. She like relives her worst
Memories
there, and you can choose whether she continues to live in there or if she just dies. And that's like the last thing you have to decide when
Yeah.
at that mission. You're like,
They do a good job with Olgierd too, because at first he
Mhm.
seems like he's the primary antagonist, and then it slowly shifts away from him being the primary antagonist, and Gontro Dim is. And Olgierd, the reason he behaves the way he behaves is because he made a pact with Gontro Dim,
or he can't get hurt.
to where like
Heart of Stone, right?
yeah, I forget why, but like as a result of the pact he made, all of his emotions. He made a pact that he can't die, is what it was.
Mm.
But then as a result of it, he no longer felt any emotion towards anything. And so like the woman he loved and he did this for, he ended up not loving anymore. He ended up having no regard for anybody. And then so like once you start to see his story play out, you become more sympathetic towards him. That one does have a pretty wild choice at the end too. Because at the end of Hearts of Stone, you could either take on Gontro Dim, and the only way to beat him is to like solve a riddle, because that's Gontro Dim's one weakness is he likes games of like wits,
Mhm.
and so if you could beat him at a game of wits, he'll let you go or whatever. And so you can make a deal with him that way, or you could straight up just give him the soul of Olgierd, and he literally like sucks the soul out of this guy and leaves him nothing but like a skeleton. Falls on the ground, and then he's like, all right, you fulfilled your pact. And that could be how it ends.
Jesus.
It's wild. So I think I might actually, man, I don't know. Blood and Wine is really good though too.
It is, but to me, Phantom Liberty and Hearts of Stone stories tops it.
So you're switching, not Blood and Wine then?
No, I still have Blood and Wine as my second.
No.
Yeah,
Just as a whole story.
because it's
Yeah.
and how big it is and the expansion, like the amount of stuff you can do in Blood and Wine, and just
Blood and Wine was also first, right?
It was
second.
Oh, it was second.
I do love the whole vampire story in Blood and Wine
Yeah.
though as well.
So what's your list?
I'm like getting hyped talking about these other expansions.
I know. You're like, is it going to convert to everything with The Witcher ever did?
One of my favorite like epic villain quotes is in Blood and Wine when what's his name? The main vampire bad guy. Why am I forgetting his name?
Not Regis. Regis is a good. Guy.
Regis is your friend.
Uh,
I forget his name.
yeah.
But anyways, when he turns into his like beast form, he like jumps up into the air and he looks at you and he says, "If you submit to any gods, pray now." And then he like flies in, and there's all this lore about how higher vampires are unbeatable. You can't kill them; they can only be killed by other higher vampires. So when that happens, it's definitely an epic moment because like Geralt is just a badass. That's like I'll take him on anyways. After learning all that. Okay, so my list. Number 5 is Undead Nightmare. Same as Dylan's. I really like Undead Nightmare. I like it because it's an alternate reality Red Dead. And
With zombies.
It's like if Night of the Living Dead, that kind of campy zombie type story happened in the Old West. That's what it is. And it's a lot of fun. It adds a lot of kookiness. It's just a good time all around, and it's pretty lengthy. For I think I paid like $10 for it.
Yeah,
I think.
it wasn't expensive.
And you're basically at that point you're paying like $1 an hour because you get at least
That's awesome.
10 hours of gameplay out of that. So that was a lot of fun. Number 4. This one is probably it's a Mass Effect one, and it's probably gonna surprise you. But the reason I like this is because of the lore implications it adds.
Oh,
Is
Leviathan?
the Leviathan DLC.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
I love the Leviathan
I was gonna
DLC.
joke and say Javik.
From Ashes, the
Yeah.
30-second. Like,
The one mission.
yeah. I love
That
the
came with the
Leviathan
game,
DLC.
right?
No, it didn't.
No, it was originally a
It
part
was
of the game
supposed
that they removed from the game to make day one DLC.
Right, day one DLC. So you bought the game, you got that, right?
No, you had to pay for that separately.
Oh my god, seriously?
But it was
Yeah.
an expansion you could buy on launch day.
the one fucking mission?
And he's super important. Like without
He
that,
is
you don't have
though.
Javik.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like EA was like, well, we need to make some more money somehow, so take this character out and make him day one DLC.
Do you really need him? Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love the Leviathan DLC. I love the lore implications it adds. I like the kind of creepiness and almost like borderline suspense thriller aspect of it. I
Okay.
like the idea of people like these Leviathans being so powerful they can control you with these orbs from light years away.
And these ones have been hiding for
Yeah. And
I
I
mean,
do
how
like
many cycles?
Yeah.
it finally, after like 2.5 very long games, it finally gave you an answer on to like how the Reapers came to be, why they look the way they look, who designed them, what was their purpose.
Yeah.
And so I like that one a lot. So Leviathan is probably my favorite from that one. So that's
Okay.
number 4. Number 3 for me is Phantom Liberty. I love Phantom Liberty. Don't need to talk about it any further because we spent a lot of time on that. Number 2 is actually going to be the Old Hunters DLC from Bloodborne.
Okay.
I figured that might be on your list.
Love that one. The Old Hunters DLC is actually almost as fun as the game itself for me. It adds some of the most memorable, fun boss fights of any From Software game I've ever played. Again, I like the lore that it adds. But Ludwig, Maria of the Astral Clock Tower, and Orphan Koss are like the 3 main bosses in that DLC, and they all are just like
Punishing.
they're punishing, they're memorable, they're fun. It never felt like I was raging because even if I was dying over and over again, it was always a fun time. So that's that's my number 2, and I think my number 1 is Blood and Wine.
Okay.
Blood and Wine is just it really set the bar for expansions for me because like it wasn't that much. It was like $20, I think, and it was basically a full game.
Yeah, it was like
It was
40
longer.
hours.
It was
Yeah.
longer than most AAA games now.
Yeah.
You can easily get 30 plus hours out of
Yeah.
this with like not even 100%ing it. It adds so much. Like there's so many side quests. There's the main quests. It has all these fun Easter eggs. It's just all around. It's a really good time, and I love the closure it adds to Geralt's story. I like that you could just end it where he's depending on your choices, he just retires to the countryside with Yennefer, and like they finally get to just have their moment, and doesn't have to worry about anything anymore. It's a very definitive end to his story. So I don't know what they're going to do if they create another Witcher game, because they said they are going to. But all in all, I think Blood and Wine is probably the gold standard for expansions.
That's why it's number 2 for me. Just the story and sci-fi are the reasons.
That's the knock, huh?
Yep.
No recency bias. He's promised.
reasons.
Even though I just beat Phantom Liberty like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But
If he goes back and plays Blood and Wine, he'll be like, guys, I was so wrong.
I will say, I just completed a playthrough, a fresh start of Elden Ring.
Oh,
Elden Ring.
God. Yeah.
well, before we go into that, let's get his number 1
He
because
already said he only had one.
No.
No, he didn't
That
say
was
his number
like a
1.
little teaser.
That was
I
his
thought that was your
honorable mention.
one.
No.
Oh.
But after we do that, we didn't talk about Shadow of the Erdtree.
That's
This might
why I
be all
was
of ours,
transitioning.
but we
but
need
This
need
might be
this.
all of ours. Shadow of the Erdtree might take all our number 1 spots. Not really. I don't. Can a Souls game like? Let's say it's as awesome as Elden Ring was, and added.
If it was Elden Ring 2, it would definitely be my number one.
Would it?
Yes, 100%. If they released an expansion that was just as good as the main game, how could that not be?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, just because like I'm thinking of like all the stuff that you loved about the other things, and it was because they iterated on their like formula. And then I think like Elden Ring, they're not going to iterate anything. It's just going to be a cool, new, exciting world, and it is what it is, and more boss fights, you know. But
Well,
anyway.
number 2 for me was the Old Hunters, and that's a From Software DLC.
Oh, I guess you're absolutely true. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that.
I don't know if it. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna love it. I don't know if it could be number one, because
it's missing the
The
story.
yeah,
Sci-fi.
and like that hit, like
The story to Vati Vidya. He's going to be
A
offended
story
by
that you don't
Yeah,
need to
but-
learn through
You
reading
have to
item descriptions.
yeah, and it actually hits me, and I'm
The
like,
most obscure.
not at the
shit.
end. I'm like, all right. I
Not that
just
the
fought
Elden
a
Ring
giant
story is
snake.
bad, but they definitely just don't hold your hand in any way whatsoever.
You can walk by a bush and not realize there's a guy in there, and
Yeah.
fucking you miss a whole half of the damn story. My number one is Heart of Thorns, Guild Wars 2. Obviously.
Heart of Thorns.
Heart of Thorns. This came out in 2015, 3 years after, like three and a half years after the original release of the game. And it set the future of what Guild Wars was going to become. It took the best parts of the game and iterated on them in terms of, so Guild Wars 1 or Guild Wars 2 left the game. Like when you beat the game, people were sort of lost with, okay, like what do I do now? What's the true end game? And there was like living world stuff, and their pace of creation at the beginning of the game was insane. It was crazy fast. And it was really an exciting world to be a part of for the first few months. But once they kind of realized that they couldn't keep up with that pace anymore, the game kind of fell flat, and there really wasn't an end game per se. It was just go and do dungeon content basically. And once you got really good at that, it was kind of like, all right, what am I doing now? Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns drops 3 years after the fact, and it kind of cements a lot of like the future of where they're going to come out of the game. They introduce a mastery system. They introduce specialization for each class. They introduce raids, 10-man content. They introduce guild halls.
Like a bulk of Endgame.
A
Yeah.
huge chunk of endgame, yes, and new crafting classes, and the content was some of the hardest in the game. They nerfed it like so many times because it was so overtuned, but there was like these little raptors that were 5 times faster than your character, and if you like walked near them, they would collapse on you and one-shot you, like literally kill you. And like you had to be very, very skilled to like venture in there. And I just remember at launch how jazzed up and hyped I was. And that was some of the best times I've ever had in a video game, was going through. And then when raids came out, I don't think raids dropped. I think they dropped like a month after the games. So they allowed you to play them, get all the stuff you need. And then 10-man content came out. And 10-man content totally changed the formula. Everything had been 5-man content to that point, and now it was switched to 10-man, and changed how a lot of people saw things, changed how buffs were shared, team comps. Like the average, the player base was terrible at the game before Heart of Thorns came out. And then raids were introduced, and everyone realized how bad they were at the game. And so it was this massive learning curve that the audience was like pushed into if you wanted to pursue that new end game content. And none of this was done through gear progression. There's no gear progression in the game. It's not like they came out with a new higher tier and like you had to play the expansion to be better. No, it's not how Guild Wars works, which is one thing that I love about it. It's all just skill based and understanding the mechanics. And this introduced the mechanics of the game that everyone was like, oh, now we have to think about buffs. It's not just about might and fury uptime. It's like, how do we, have protection uptime, because you're going to take a lot of damage? How are we going to have alacrity and swiftness and all these other mechanics? Because in dungeons, you basically would spec out your team comp to smack, like you would stun the boss, and then every player would run this gear that would basically, you do like 20% more damage when a boss is stunned. So you would stun as fast as you could, and then you would just out DP, you would just smack the hammer down and DPS the hell out of the boss. And basically your longest encounters before Heart of Thorns came out with a good team lasted less than 5 seconds
Right.
because you were just smashing through these bosses. That's no more with raid content. These fights are 10 minutes long, and now you have a whole new set of things to think about and care about. And it was really interesting, and it was like a fun dynamic. It was a really exciting part of the time to be a part of the game. They also came out with these cool little like challenge modes. So like throughout the world, there was like these little competitions with daily, weekly, and month and all-time leaderboards, I think is how it worked. But like they would be like super quirky games. Like one, you get a rifle and it puts you in first person mode, and you have to like shoot these targets. And you have to, whoever gets the most targets,
Like Duck Hunt.
Yeah, literally. It turns in, and you're like, wow, I'm fucking using a rifle in Guild Wars right now. Like, what the hell? And
First
then
person shooter.
other game modes, you like become a roller beetle, and you have to like do this timed race and get down like to a short time, and if you got to get gold or whatever. And so like there was all these new forms of content to like be had to and play, and it was just such an just exciting time to be a part of the game. I loved it so much. So
No wonder you didn't play the Witcher expansion.
Yeah, too busy.
Came out at the same time.
October 2015.
That's when Hearts of Stone came out.
Yeah.
Blood and Wine came out in May of 2016.
Ooh, yeah. So I was still heavily.
It came out the
years later.
summer before I was working at my last job because I had broke my collarbone. And I remember I did nothing but play Witcher for like 3 weeks while I was healing.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, no, I grinded the hell out of it. Had an absolute fucking blast. Loved it. So that would have to be my number one. I mean, I could list other ones that were like, others a part of the Guild Wars franchise, but all the ones that you guys listed, all the ones in your top 5, other than the Leviathan and Citadel, I never played. So I never even downloaded. So
Oh, I was like, you never played Leviathan or Citadel?
no, those are the two
I know.
that I've
I
done.
flipped it.
But never even played Cyberpunk. Just watched it.
Why
So-
not?
Just basically playing for him.
So I like for whatever reason, so I don't really pre-order games. And Cyberpunk came out and it had like the disastrous launch that it
But
did.
why not get it now?
I have it wishlisted on Steam and it drops to $30 regularly. And I've thought about playing it, but I'm like, nah, not interested. I don't know. It's just there's not any energy around the game anymore. I wouldn't enjoy it.
there's not any energy.
I like it. I don't know. Like,
What do you mean?
so for me, I know you guys laughed at this because I brought this up before, but like, you go and you watch like how many people are watching it on Twitch or whatever. That's like a barrier for.
Yeah,
like,
but it's a single
or,
player game. What does that matter?
Well, I know. So like, I like to be a part of a. I like to be a part of. If I'm gonna go to a game years later, I want to be a part of a game that like is kind of evolving or like there's
It did
new
evolve.
builds. Yeah, I know.
2.0,
It's already
Phantom
settled.
But
Liberty.
it's done.
What I'm saying, it's already settled.
You should have played it with Phantom Liberty dropped.
I probably should have. And
If that's what you
wow.
wanted,
I
yeah.
actually I thought about it because it dropped to $30 like a couple months before Phantom Liberty was announced, and that was the closest I was to pulling the trigger on it. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It's just I've watched it live streamed a couple times, at launch.
Basically played it.
I will never
I've
not
heard you guys
meme you
talk
say
about
that.
it. You have to. It's part of the show.
Basically,
It's part of the show.
I've watched people play it
So I
significantly.
got like 40 hours.
So I can comment on whether or not the story is good. Yeah,
That's fair.
That's it
You can comment on the story, I guess, but gameplay is such a huge part
of actually playing it.
of like.
But like I like to be like if I'm gonna play an older game, I like there to be like I don't know. I kind of like being a part of like there's new builds being discovered or there's new
That's,
techniques, and it's just to me it's like a settled science. It's like it is what it is. Just go have fun, and I'm like I don't play games to have fun.
That's such a
All right.
foreign like alien
I know.
concept to me. Like, oh, I can't play this amazing game because only 15 people are playing
Well,
it on Steam.
And the thing is,
Like,
Exactly.
I don't understand.
Billy, out of us, when Cyberpunk Edgerunners came out, you watched it twice.
I know.
Me and Kyle,
I watched it
I
once.
watched it once.
And that's
I
it.
know. Dude, I don't understand me. Help me. Figure me out, okay? I don't get it. I don't know what it is. I don't Here's the thing. I know if I bought Cyberpunk, I would probably really enjoy it. It would probably be a lot of fun. I just won't click that button. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know. I'm excited for their next project.
Orion?
Cyberpunk 2
Cyberpunk 2.
in Unreal Engine or whatever.
I think they're. I don't.
Is it Orion? That's what, or is it Project Orion?
Project Orion.
I don't
That's
think
the project
they're.
name.
Are they immediately going to Cyberpunk? Or are they going back to Witcher for a game? I think they're going back to Witcher. It's like called Witcher like Links or something like that.
I would play that. That was
I
fun.
think I would play that. But
I like The
Cyberpunk-
Witcher a lot. Cyberpunk was a new IP. It wasn't willing to risk it. And honestly, the launch burned me. It is what it is, but the launch did
It was a
burn me.
9 at launch
On PS4.
on PS4. Okay.
9 out of 10, guys. You know, like all the shit that we memed on for like, how the fuck could these review agencies give it a 9 out of
Hey, I gave it a 7 on PC and a 4
4?
on
I was going to
console.
say, I thought you gave it a 4, yeah.
For one of my favorite games of all time. I think that was
I think the gameplay
fair.
in Witcher, though,
the gameplay is better in Cyberpunk.
is it? You would say it's
I
way
would.
better.
Witcher,
not way
the
better, but
gameplay
better.
is it's completely different.
It's also separated by about 8 years.
Yeah,
But
it's completely
remember-
different. But I actually don't think, as far as like third person sword fighting games, I don't think that Witcher is actually that strong in that regard.
today, or because I remember
Even at launch.
really,
Yeah, think about this is
I thought it was
this is
amazing
after the
gameplay.
time when games like Arkham Asylum had come out,
Oh,
and
that's true.
where like they really redefined like third person combat. Witcher I always felt was not quite there for me, and this might have been because don't get me wrong, I love Witcher, but this might have been because I was really heavy into From Software.
Well, that's what I was just gonna ask. Did Witcher 3 come out before Dark Souls 2?
Dark Souls 2 came out before Witcher 3.
So we played Dark Souls 2 before.
Dark Souls 2 came out in 2013, 2014, but like early 2014. And Witcher didn't come out until 2015, so it was almost a year later.
Okay. Interesting that, because I remember the first fight in The Witcher 3 very well. Whatever, the Griffin.
Yeah.
It's like almost a tutorial boss or whatever you want to call it. And I remember sitting there with like the different, Svard and Ard and whatever the fuck all the different spells are or whatever. And I remember thinking like, oh man, this gameplay is. I'm really liking all the different styles that this has. But
I think
saying
it was-
this, maybe
I think it was deep.
I agree with Kyle.
I
don't-
just think that it wasn't like there was emphasis on strategy and approach, but not as much on just raw fun.
yeah, like you go play Cyberpunk. The
gameplay-
gameplay's fun.
Like Cyberpunk is almost especially after Phantom Liberty, and they added all these extra mods. Like the fluidity of movement is fun in the same way that like it's fun just to play Spider-Man to swing around.
Yeah,
Like it's just fun to get from point A to point
just
B.
fun to get in combat.
Yeah. Because you can get really wild with it and parkour and speed jump and fly, and like when you look at someone playing Cyberpunk that like has put a lot of hours into it, it looks fun. It looks like a fun way to game. Whereas Witcher, it's an amazing game, but it's limited on like they can really go all out in Cyberpunk with the character and the builds and all the different weapons you can use. At the end of the day, you have a steel sword and a silver sword in Witcher. One's for monsters,
That's
one's for
true.
humans. And like you could throw in some bombs and some things. But also, I do feel like Witcher, you can only really play it one way effectively. There are other ways you can do it. You can add oils and stuff, but like at the end of the day, there really is
You're
only
locked in.
one way to play.
That's
Cyberpunk, it has a very multifaceted approach to how you can handle things.
especially with the 1.2 patch or whatever, or not patch, but
This when Phantom Liberty came out and they,
They did the
redesigned
whole-
everything. Although the only thing I'm salty about that is I had to change my build completely because they reallocated what leveled up handguns.
Oh,
And so like I had to switch to a blades build because that was already leveled up,
you can. It's
which is fine. You know,
I do a blades and pistol build, and I'm like slow down time. Just
Sandevistan.
yeah,
You know,
Like an anime.
yeah.
you know, we could. I was just thinking this. You know, what we could stream.
You playing Cyberpunk?
No, Elden Ring co-op mod.
We could.
We could. Now that
We all have it
but
on
be
PC.
wary, it's gonna take an hour to get your settings right again.
because we all have PCs.
It's a lot of work
Yeah.
to get playing that versus just turning it on PC, I swear.
What, the Elden Ring mod?
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing in the world. You download it and you save the files in the folder, and then you
And
launch
then
the
you
game.
got to make special folders for it, and you got to make sure that you're on the right patch, and you got to make sure that the modders,
You definitely have to make sure you're on the
updated it.
right patch.
you don't just put it in and play.
One does not simply
Just
play.
So I looked it up. Polaris is the next mainline Witcher game, and that's supposedly the one that'll be next. And they said,
It's not Geralt, it's just the universe, right?
yeah, they said CDPR previously mentioned that Polaris will release no earlier than 2025. So, if anything, we might get an announcement trailer, but it sounds like that's the next one. And they say they
You
plan
didn't-
to have it be a new trilogy.
You didn't believe me?
No, I'm just trying to remember what, because I remember I bought a handful of games at this time in 2014. Sorry, I wasn't cutting anybody off here.
You were.
He's looking at
No.
release dates for Dark Souls 2 and Witcher.
Yeah.
Witcher 3.
May,
Basically,
like-
exactly what I said, but
which is unbelievable that you remember shit like that. That's unbelievable.
Well,
you know why? Because
Shall
it
we-
has no effect or bearing on my life.
How good are those?
These are amazing.
Fucking
yeah,
incredible.
but don't eat it. You told us to promise
Look at
you.
all these gummy bears here.
Oh, I know.
We're sponsored by Ziploc,
I
SC Johnson, and gummy bears.
No.
I cracked those open on a flight, and it just aromated, whatever the word is.
Aromated.
Is that the word?
I don't-
I think it is. Like
Aromatically infused.
yeah, it aromatically infused the plane with the most fruity scent of all time. I was almost embarrassed, but I was just fucking fist in hand eating this.
You know that there was one person on the plane that was like, I'm going to throw up. This is so gross.
I can't have this artificially sweetened gummy bears over there. Like, absolutely not. I like my real sugar.
I like my real shit.
I make homemade gummy bears.
With honey. Locally
It's
grown
with
bee
honey.
honey.
It's made with honey. and sap.
Just super sticky.
Into a little bear mold. Here you go, son. He gives
like-
you some. Just melts all over your
It's like
hand.
literally like an ice cube because it doesn't actually hold a shape.
Yeah, you have to eat it
frozen.
cold.
How do you? How is it? Are you holding it together? It's cornstarch. It's like
Organic cornstarch. Oh,
Well,
what a terrible way to make gummy bears.
Shall we move on? Shadow of the Earth Tree.
let's talk about it. Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Let's be
Trailer
about it.
dropped. Let's talk about it. Let's be about it. Trailer drop. Let's break down frame by frame.
Lore wise,
Lore wise,
I don't give a fuck about the lore.
super disappointed.
It does look like we're gonna touch a hand, we're gonna get diddle diddled, and then zapped.
we're
into
not-
the-
presumably
Something.
we're not changing. We're not going forward or backward in time.
We're just going to a different
We're
the
going
land of the
to-
shadow.
Like, where is this going to be? It's literally. It says it in description. It's obscured by the Erd Tree.
the shadow
Of the Erd Tree.
Obscured by the
I'm
Erd
assuming
Tree
it's
was
gonna
the
be a
verbiage
new
they used.
underground area. Like
I don't think it'll be underground. I
The
think it's going to be
Halletree
like
Alternate dimension.
maybe there's a huge area that's untouched on the cliff side of Mountaintop of the Giants, and that happens to be right behind the Erd Tree. There's a lot of area they could tap there.
I think it's gonna
So,
be a different
did-
dimension.
did you see
Do
what
you?
Miyazaki said?
I'd be a little disappointed.
Or
I mean,
it's gonna be in Mikla's dreams, or
that's very likely considering how they've done expansions in the past. But
Did you see what Miyazaki said around the size of
he
it?
said a lot.
he said he estimates it'll be about the size of Limgrave. But everyone's making also comments. Where like, this is the guy that said, I estimate it'll probably take you about 30 hours to beat the game.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, he's kind of notorious for
Lowballing it.
underselling because that way you can be even more appreciative when it comes out.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard that quote of him saying the size of Limgrave, I was disappointed.
really?
You wanted to be the size of all of Lernia or Lands Between.
Limgrave's huge too.
See,
Limgrave
I
is the
don't.
whole first portion of the map.
I don't think it's that big though. I really, it is big, but think about how many fucking areas are in that game. How much time do you realistically spend on a playthrough in Liurnia?
No, Limgrave.
Or I'm sorry, Limgrave.
I'm so sorry.
I fucked up. I'm stupid.
I
Well,
did the
I-
same thing. I called all of Lands Between Lernia. But
Like 20 hours.
Yeah, but I
Which
mean
that
also
is actually, if I got 20 hours in expansion, I'd be pretty jazzed.
Limgrave
up,
is
but-
a pretty decent size. You could fit a whole game in that area.
and they don't really
Yeah.
put it's pretty
It's pretty
empty.
open. That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
So that's what I'm basing it on. I guess geographic size. What I don't want to. It's gonna be fucking awesome. What am I bitching at? It's gonna be fucking awesome. It's
You
gonna be
seen some of
legendary.
these bosses? They look epic.
Mesmer the Impaler.
I just
The
found
giant
my build today.
basket on fire boss,
Fire Basket Man.
fire basket man.
The Lion
Fire
Dancer.
basket, man.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is, but it's like 5 times the size of Fire Giant, and it's
He's
It's-
huge.
he's
you can barely
literally
fit him in your screen.
a walking basket that's on fire that has like all these dead bodies inside of it.
And he's bigger than Fire Giant.
Yeah.
You didn't see the
Did
trailer?
you not see the trailer?
I did, but
He's
like
huge
that
in it.
shit, it doesn't register. Like I don't need to memorize the fucking details of a trailer.
Wow.
I'll play the game.
What is wrong with this man?
I know.
These guys,
This
fucking
guy's so fucking wild.
You-
What about
uses
the Lion
lube.
Dancer? I know you saw that one. You commented on it. It's
I
the one
did.
that spews the stone stuff.
No idea what you're talking about.
It's the guys with the big eyes, they spit the gray.
The Death Blight.
Yeah.
They do that, but now with stone stuff.
No, that's Deathblight. And it looks like concrete. It looks like they're blowing concrete at you.
They're blowing death at you.
Okay, but
Deathblight.
you commented in the trailer there's a boss that blows concrete at you.
Oh yeah, I do remember that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember that
You
one?
know what boss actually looks the most intriguing to me? Is that that red sword maiden in that purple field.
Okay, with the sword.
Super quick little,
Yeah.
but like I love those
What
types
if that's
of
just a regular enemy?
maybe it could be, but I hope it's an actual and like a boss because those are always my favorite types of bosses in From Software games.
What human?
Is the human-sized, just wickedly good with the blade boss. Those ones are always the most fun for me.
Rather than
I think
beasts.
they're the most challenging too.
They're usually the hardest too, which is kind of funny to think
Like, I
about.
struggle.
The
with
bigger
fight.
the boss, the less intimidating it is to me.
Yeah.
In From Software
Easier
games.
it is to read their telegraphs.
They're hella slow.
Except for Malekith.
Malekith isn't
He's
that big.
fast. Yeah, he's not that big, but for a big guy, he's fast.
Yeah,
Did you guys see the whole power scaling though?
they're
How that's gonna work?
reworking it so that you can't go into it being over leveled.
It's Sekiro. They're taking Sekiro's level system.
Yeah,
I was wondering how they were gonna do that because I'm like, there's a farm in that game that gets you 20 million runes an hour.
they literally give you the most OP farm in the game, so they had no choice but to.
Because
to
I'm
do
like, you
this.
could go in hundreds of levels over leveled, and you're fucking.
I think you're gonna be fucked. You're in New Game Plus 7.
I'm not gonna play it on that character.
No.
I'm playing it on my new character. I'm like a level 135, 150 or whatever,
Okay.
and I already know exactly what build I'm gonna run. I'm gonna farm for. I never used these before, but I'm gonna farm these up. Blood Boil aromatics. Those things are fucking
Sounds disgusting.
ranked, dude. They require some rare materials, so they're kind of hard to. They're kind of a bitch to farm, but they give you 30% damage buff, and like you take 25% less damage. So I'm gonna fucking farm like a couple dozen of those up just so I have them for boss fights, and then I need to get. I got my new character. Your guys are gonna laugh. So I've sped run this. I haven't used summons or anything like that. I can't beat Gideon.
Yeah?
You just run in while he's talking.
I'm dead serious. I can't beat
I
him.
knew you'd come.
I can't beat him because I don't have. I have like, because I'm trying to just rush the game,
Stun lock.
and I
them.
don't have no. So here's the thing.
I'm using a
No.
ladle.
I don't have leveled up weapons because I'm literally just speed running. This
Why
game,
are you
trying to-
playing
I
this
know,
way?
I know. So I have 2 ruins greatswords.
How'd you get 2?
I gave my character some some weapons from my main guy. I transferred them. I dropped them and then fucking moved them over. I used a mule. So, but I have 2.
You paid somebody.
No,
He used a drug.
I'm on an Elden Ring Discord.
Oh,
I'll help. Like I'm on the Discord. Like I help. I actually help.
He was like,
people-
"Hey, can you help me out?" And they said, "Sure."
Yeah, exactly. I can help people kill
Okay.
a boss, and then I'll
He
be like,
paid $60 to move his.
No, that's how I leveled the guy too, because I just gave him. I have some heroes runes. I gave him those. I
Oh.
just consumed those.
So you
'cause I
did pay
didn't
him.
wanna-
Here I am,
No, I didn't pay him anything. I
paid him in
gave
hero
him from my
runes.
main
He helped
character
out.
to this character.
a homie. I'm surprised he didn't steal it.
To be honest,
I don't think
the
they
game's been
care.
out 2 years.
They have so
Yeah.
much.
and they're on an Elden Ring Discord. Like you'd have to be a real cock to fucking steal some of that shit. Plus, like people like just trade. Like they'll give you items for free or whatever. But anyway, I know what build I'm gonna use: a twin gargoyle blade, a pole blade. I really like the attack set, and I'm gonna go back to a bleed build because I've done the bonk now probably more than I did the bleed build on my main guy, and I want to go back to the bleeds. I really enjoy
Okay.
them. So I want to get back to that.
Have you beaten Moog?
Not on this guy yet.
You have to
I
beat-
literally have just cleared the map.
The 2 main required bosses is Radon and Moog. For some reason, Radon is required. I don't
For
know
this
why.
DLC?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Why are people saying that?
that's what.
That's
Doc
what he
said.
announced. You have
Oh.
to have beaten both Radon and Moog to be able to play this DLC. And so now there's all the speculation as to why is Radon, one of the required bosses.
Interesting. That's good. Thanks for letting me know. So I want to get him set up. I can't beat Gideon. It's actually a meme. I went in and I double bonked him. I literally I've been fucking tickling bosses because I just don't want to level up my shit. I'm literally just trying to beat the game so I have the map unlocked and then I'm going to get all the items. And I go and I double hand bonk him. And it does like 10% of his damage and then he goes fucking Super Saiyan. And my shit's so slow. Like he'll
He's
have
actually living up to his name.
Dude.
Getting off near the all-knowing.
he has this one thing that I hit him like with and it shatters. Like the first time you hit him, like it shatters, whatever. It almost one-shots me.
Damn.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it. Like,
Are you serious?
no, I do obviously.
Okay.
I don't know
I
what
did
I'm
it like
doing wrong.
I fought him like twice, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna call it here because I pretty much have all. I mean, I have all the map unlocked at this point.
So I
twice, and he considers I can't beat him ever.
Well, I've never died to him,
Not
and I
only-
thought it was
Yeah.
fucking hilarious that I didn't die to him.
I did a legit playthrough. I played through once where I bum rushed every boss on a fresh playthrough. I got all the items I wanted. I didn't really do anything story wise. Didn't do any side quests. I just got everything that I wanted. And then I just did a full, complete like lore playthrough on New Game Plus. And then this is the character I'm going to take with me into the DLC. I did all of the side quests. I beat
Smart.
all of the bosses. And I did Dylan's build, but with an emphasis on
Big
jump
bump.
attacks.
Yeah,
so I got
that's what I've
the-
always done.
I got the talisman that gives
Jump
you
attack.
the jump attack talisman and the feather
Cape.
cape that gives you jump attack bonus as well. And for the first time, not that I've ever tried, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to just try and beat Melania without summoning because I normally always use Mimic as bait in that fight. I fucked her up with this build. Like once you stun lock her, that's it. She can't even like escape it. So if you're doing it right, that jump dual colossal build is pretty OP.
I don't even have a single talisman. I might have.
I
like,
don't know what I'm
the
doing
one.
wrong.
So I have like 3 of the slots or 4 of the slots unlocked, but I don't even have like anything slotted into them. I do know what I'm doing wrong. I just am literally rushing through it.
So get
I actually got to Gideon in about 2 hours of gameplay, which I was actually pretty happy with. I mean, obviously I started at level 130, whatever it was, but
See?
but believe it or not, that doesn't really help you that much. Not having leveled up weapons is
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
fucking deal. Like you could be high level, but if you have a level 1 or 2 weapon, good luck.
I actually did I have a lot of stats invested into intelligence. And then I made my greatsword, Ash of War, a magic based one. So that's scaled off of intelligence as well. So both of them base without any buffs do at least 1,000 damage.
Yeah,
Jesus.
the
Did you use a Darkmoon Greatsword at all? Did you try that one?
I did, but it's
not
Doesn't
colossal.
so
have
it's not
the- doesn't have the
colossal.
reach.
So it's not colossal. So it doesn't have a paired moveset with another greatsword.
you have to get like a minor great. I don't know. They have a different name.
It's greatsword and colossal sword.
Yeah.
The sword that's called greatsword is actually a colossal sword. So if you want to use it with, if you want to use the Darkmoon, I wish it was, but it's not on the same level. So
I think Malekith is not a colossal, right?
yeah. So,
So
you could
can
probably use it with that
Malekith
one.
and Darkmoon.
But in order for that build to be effective, at least for me, because I actually don't use Bloodhound Step.
I think you're thinking maybe Morgoth's. I think Malekith's is
I don't-
Bloodhound Step.
I don't use Bloodhound Step. I just have a shit ton invested in endurance,
is
so I can
colossal.
still light roll. Because I'd rather use I like the Ash of War that the Royal Greatsword has, the jump up in the air slash
Slam.
and then the AoE. So that one, so
What's the name of that one? Lion's Claw?
Wolf's
Oh, Wolf's.
like
Bane.
Wolf's Bane. Like that.
Or
Okay.
something.
So I want to use the twin gargoyle set because I've always used like weapons that have weapon art on them, and you're dedicated to that. So I
Yeah.
want to use the twin gargoyle because first off, I haven't really used pole blades before. Or,
It's not a
sorry,
special
twin
weapon?
blades. No, it's not. And I really want to try out different Ashes of War because it's a whole part of the game that I've never really experienced. And there's a lot of really cool ones on there.
Yeah.
Like the Royal Knight's Resolve or whatever that boosts the damage of your next outgoing attack by 80%, which is just cracked. And then I really like the Lion's Claw. You do like a front flip forward and slam down, and it's like this big bonk. So I want to try out a couple of them with the twin blades.
On this last
and bleed
playthrough?
build for sure.
On this last playthrough, I actually, for the very first time ever, fought Fortisax in the Deep Root Depths.
You never fought him?
I've never done Fia's questline. I've done her questline, but I always like stopped giving a fuck about
It
Fia's.
just goes on and fucking
then, like,
on.
I gotta give a shit about Dee's brother and like all this random, and so I've never finished her questline, and I've looked it up. The rewards that you would get from Fortisax never really were that interesting to me, and so I'd never even this playthrough. That was the first time I ever even beat Fortisax, and I was a little underwhelmed because Fortisax isn't nearly as cool as like Placidusax.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Placidusax is way better. And I thought it was going to be on that level, and it wasn't. I was like, oh, this is just kind of like a normal dragon. But
I've
okay.
always seen it like the half fully grown beast, whatever's like levels of evolution. And Fortisax was like the mid tier, and Placidusax, whatever, is the final boss.
But I was like really soaking in the lore this time because I wanted to be like ready for the expansion.
Now you're ready.
And like, there's all these things that like I thought that I knew a lot of the lore, and then I'm like, dude, I didn't really know anything. I always wondered like for one, like why was Godwin, like why was he like so big like when he died and stuff, and then like when you read item descriptions, like he died normally, but then like he became like he started getting possessed by the Erd Tree, and that's how his face comes up in Stormvale, and also why it's in Deep Root Depths, and like he starts like it just things like that like you just don't pay attention to when you're because it's like work to like understand kind of what's going on, and I don't think anyone really ever truly understands what's going on. But like Vike, I love his story,
Dude, it's
story's
crazy
and I'm
cool.
super interested into like not that we ever will, but like for one, like who were the two like great rune holders that he killed to even get as far as he did? Like who were they?
Yeah.
And And then for 2, I would love to see more about his weird romance with the dragon.
dragon.
Like that's pretty wild. I know that they say the dragon can take human form, but still, that's pretty bold of Vike to. And then why did he become so obsessed with randomly wanting to save his maiden? Like, where did that come into play? Why did he decide to go down below?
He was
You
a
know?
man of bitches. He's not maidenless. He had the dragon.
He was not maidenless.
He had all the maidens.
But I would love to see, even if there was like just some kind of something on Vike, other than what we got. If there ever was like an anime,
If there ever
So
was.
how are they neutralizing like the level?
So
How
I
does
have
that
no
work?
idea.
Are they gonna scale you down
No,
to
I-
like? Oh,
I
you
know.
got it. Oh,
I got
shit.
it.
All right,
It's
he knows
because
it.
they've confirmed it works exactly like Sekiro. So Sekiro, it wasn't like your attack power was no longer something you leveled up. Your attack power increased when you beat a boss. And so you got stronger the more bosses you beat. And therefore that's how you increase in strength. That was it. So that way that's how they're preventing you from being overleveled. Because you're going to go in with 1 attack power and you need to beat the bosses to increase your strength.
so basically, no matter what level you are, when you go into this expansion area, you all start the
Attack
same.
power 1.
attack
Yeah.
power.
But you still like your weapons are gonna scale off of.
I think they still
like-
scale off that, but I think it's
it's just the
A level 10
effectiveness-
weapon's still going to be stronger than a level 1.
yeah.
So like it's just a matter of your effectiveness in there is going to be scaled off of these bosses.
hmm
Interesting.
And they also said, I guess we'll never know. I'm just kidding.
I was like, yes.
They also said that Slice and Dice Killer is the greatest s- From Software player.
The final boss is going to be let me solo her.
Dude, that would be so much fun if like in like a dungeon or something like that they had him as a boss
Like a let me solo her.
and it was
like,
kind of like
dungeon
a
boss.
meme. Yeah, you like one shot.
What an honor that would be.
That'd be cool.
You know,
He's
be
like
one of the hardest
snail.
bosses in the game because the humanoid ones are always super hard.
So what do we think Mesmer is? I'm guessing he's like the middle boss. I don't think he's the big boss.
Who's Mesmer related to?
He is supposedly like people think he's like
The
the
third
the
of
third
Mikola, Melania, and Mesmer.
hmm
All the M's.
or they think it's
Well, then there's
um,
Morgoth and Moog who aren't. So I guess the M's aren't
The
thing.
weird uncle.
Yeah, so they think it's one of them. They think it's like an outcast child or something because there's the banished catacombs and there's like this whole. They have a theory, but they don't know. But do you guys think he's the big boss? Or
I think
don't
there's going to be
so.
one after, because if it follows how other From Software expansions have been in the past, the boss they advertise the most is never the final boss. Like in the Old Hunters DLC, Lady Maria was the one that was in all the promotional material. She's even on the cover of the cover art. But Orphan of Kos was actually the final boss. And so I think that there's going to be one final, like,
America.
Well, you kind of already did with Radagon.
Yeah.
Reborn into her form. Because they
I
merged
was-
into the same person, right?
Well,
it's
so
her.
I actually was looking into that, and they never were two separate people to start. So America, she separated herself
Somehow.
somehow, and Radagon is America, but he kind of has his own free will.
So that's why he went.
And
to
then he
Renala.
went to Renala to
Banged
fight
her,
her,
had
banged her,
kids.
had kids. And then Mariko was like, what
Come
the fuck?
home.
You can have kids in that form? And then summoned Radagon back and was like, you're going to have kids with me because imagine how powerful our kids would be because I'm a god, you're me, you're a god. And that's why Melania and Mikola are both fucked up because they're inbred. That's why Melania has the rot, and that's why Mikola was cursed with like
Forever child.
because they're inbred Empyreans.
Inbred of like the same person.
Yeah. And then realizing what happened, they merged back into one person. But their consciousness never went back together fully. And that's the whole
That's so weird.
America Radagon thing. which is like insane. Like, who thinks of this? when
Who's
they're-
Martin.
Margit? Margit is whose child?
Margit is
George R. R. Martin and his incest. Love
'Cause
for incest.
He's-
Morgoth. Let's see.
He's an omen.
He's
Is
an,
that also an incest child?
I believe he's Renala's kid. But let me look at the America family tree real quick.
Pull up the America.
So, okay. No. Morgoth and Moog, they're the son of America and Godfrey.
Okay.
Morgoth and Moog are omens, meaning that they were kind of like the shunned children.
Yeah, because they have the horns.
And Godwin was like the perfect child. He's also the
he's
son
the
of
one that was
Godfrey
murdered.
America, and he was the one that was murdered. Mikola America are both sons of Radagon America, and then Renala's kids is Ronnie, Rykard, and Radon.
There we go. So America got around.
America got around.
Maybe Renala breaks out of her trance, and she becomes the Mesmer. That's her. And then
What? This is wild.
I don't think so, Billy.
hey man, she kind of looks like her, to be honest. So, but the idea is like Renala.
I think Mesmer's a
she,
guy.
She snaps out of her trance. Whatever. We've seen gender swaps happen, no problem in this game. So Renala breaks out of her trance, right? And like, cause she's smitten right now, or like lonely and sad. She breaks out of that trance, reunites the fucking what is the Royal Knights, whatever, like her academy, right?
Carrion.
And then like the final boss area is like you have to work your way through like the upgraded Carrion
Manor.
like Carrion Manor with like the elite soldiers, and because the academy's back and running, and
I don't think so.
it's at
Billy.
its height.
But I'm glad you.
I'm glad
think
you're
that.
participating.
Yeah, but I don't think so. Because I think this is
I'm
all
just
gonna
throwing
do
bullshit
with
out here.
Mikola. I don't know. I think we're working with Mikola.
I think
Is my guess. It's like
Mesmer
we're trying to save him.
must be one of
Melania and Mikola's
must be
brother.
their brother.
I think we're gonna be working with Mikola, maybe, or like trying to save him or something. And the final boss
Is gonna be him for some reason.
is gonna be like a corrupt, evil version of him or something. I don't know.
Yes, Reinhardt.
Right? I know.
Right.
If you look at Goldwyn, the Goldwyn.
Oh, God.
Gold in the gold.
Of course, I misspelled God.
These characters' names got confusing. Yeah, I don't. It's weird that Godwin was like the one perfect child, and he's the one that they killed lore-wise. And I
Well-
guess Ronnie
And then Melina is rumored,
theorized
to be a child of
'cause-
Radagon America.
in some of the lore drops. She talks about how her mother brought her to the foot of the Urge, and it just like lines up with how America might be Melina's mom.
Who the fuck is Godwin?
Godwin is the son of
Morgoth
Godfrey.
and Rogue?
Godfrey America. No, that line goes.
Oh, I see.
And Godwin was the one that was killed by in the Night of Black Knives that started the whole Shattering War.
So we haven't fought him yet.
No, he's dead,
dead.
by the time.
This thing's all off. Look, they put Blaze and Ronnie as siblings.
See, I don't think they know what the fuck.
And
they're
then
doing.
Wait.
who is the unicorn? Or no, the unborn. I thought that said unicorn.
No, Blade is not. Oh Jesus, Blade is not a.
He's a shadow.
He's like
He's a
he's
simp.
assigned to her.
Yeah, they're
He's a
called
simp.
shadows. It's like Malchus.
He's a simp. Nefeli Lu is somehow related to
Horlu.
Horlu.
That makes sense.
Somehow, maybe it's like niece or something.
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, you're learning how to make a.
What the fuck is
How to
this?
draw a family tree.
The Elden Ring family tree? What the fuck?
Oh, here we go. This one. Okay.
This one's real basic.
The one great.
It's
Um,
called the Greater Will, not the one great.
It's translated okay.
All right.
The two fingers,
Simp-
the three finger. Hey, it's gonna come out with the full fingers.
Oh, it's talking about
The
the.
5 fingers.
And then no, that's the next DLC. It's the full fingers and the thumb. The
Dragon's
thumb.
God.
The thumb.
Thumb.
Yeah, fucking
Just
not
some
even-
like guy.
just one fucking thumb.
Unnamed wolf. I just like how he's not connected to anything. He's just up there.
Yeah, there's no line.
You guys can't see what we're looking at here, but huh. I mean, yeah, I think Mesmer is going to be related to Merrick and Radagon. And Mesmer is do you guys get I think he looks ugly. Like they're selling his collector statue like with the collector's edition.
Yeah, I don't think he looks that cool.
I'm like I have no interest in getting a statue of him in my opinion.
They're selling a collector's edition of this?
Yeah, look it
Yeah.
up.
It's like $200.
Might be worth it
We
for
could
the collection here.
we could all go in on it.
Chat, let us know. What do you think? You want to see Mesmer?
No,
The
that's
Impaler? That's it?
That's
No,
not
that's
it.
a helmet.
They sell a helmet?
I don't think you can wear that one. I think that's like for looks.
Looks kind of dumb anyway, to be honest.
right? Go look at the other collector's edition. I guess they are just selling a helmet one.
Is this it right here?
No. Well, that's the
That's not a
helmet.
collector's edition. That's literally just that helmet for like almost $200.
I've never been to their website here. How does this work?
Exclusive editions maybe.
Collector's editions.
And
Is
then
this? Are we on just
right there.
Okay,
there you go.
Comes with
Which one?
statue of Mesmer the Impaler.
Oh yeah, as far as the Rubicon.
Oh yeah.
Great game. But yeah, does that look?
Seriously,
Enter your birthday.
what the fuck?
1/1
0-0.
1990.
Let's see.
Does that look interesting at all to you, Billy?
That's the photo we have to operate from.
You can probably full zoom it with that
trying.
icon in the top right.
There was a zoom icon on top
Yeah.
of the image. You didn't have to zoom in.
Where?
Up.
Hold
Top
the
right.
image
Hold on, let me get this.
right there.
This isn't. No, this is a visual search. If we click that, it searches Google for similar photos.
Oh well.
Well,
Well,
thought
It's
we were
alright,
cool
guys.
for a second.
Yeah, it's alright.
does that look cool to you at all, Billy?
Like too skinny.
It's like
I think
don't-
it'll be a fun boss, but it's not like
I'm telling you, that's Renala.
that's not what.
It's Renala.
Watch him be right.
The base game is not even included.
Base game not included. So I hope you got the base game.
Can you pre-order now?
It's $40.
I think I'll wait.
I mean, it's not like before there'd be the risk of not getting it if
Yeah.
you didn't pre-order it in time. Now it's like
The
you
risk
could-
of downloading it.
yeah, you could buy it day of. It doesn't matter.
Watch this be received as like unequivocally the worst expansion of all time,
And it ruins Elden Ring.
dude.
It makes it a terrible game in retrospect.
Turns it into a dating simulator.
It, the expansion comes with a patch that completely changes the base game and makes it garbage.
Everyone turns to stick figures.
Makes it a racing
And there's
simulator.
no way to change it back.
yeah. You can-
Racing the lands between.
introducing seasons. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not interested in that at all. That collector's
Let me
edition.
just share the screen here.
Yeah,
Yep.
look at him.
Mesmer.
Not feeling it.
No.
I mean, he looks all right, but not like if I'm
I
going to
want
get a
his weapon.
statue from Elden Ring, there's much cooler looking NPCs
I'd want
and
like
bosses.
Blythe, Ronnie.
I want his weapon.
I would even like Elden Beast.
Yeah, Elden Beast would
You
be
know,
dope.
that'd be kind of a cool.
Imagine if he was like kind of see-through.
Yeah.
And every time you go to like
It was a lava lamp. Can you imagine Elden Beast lava lamp?
every time you go to like grab him to like move around, he fucking runs away. And he shows up on a different part. Yeah. Hell no. Fuck the Elden Beast.
Or even Radagon breaking the Elden Ring.
Yeah, like
That'd
a,
be a cool
freeze
statue.
frame.
Stand up.
Actually, I think like the weapon art for or the spell art for the moon spell that Renala cast would be hella cool. That animation
Or,
is
uh,
so
Where she
sick.
curls up into a ball.
Yeah, and then she shatters, and then the moon comes flying at you.
Yeah.
And, like it's
So
slow
what do you
and
want
then
the?
explodes.
The ball.
want
Just
the-
the animation, like the weapon art. Yeah, be kind
Wait,
of cool.
but what would you want as the statue just curled
Nothing,
up in
just
a ball?
a ball floating. and it's like the moon.
So
You know-
just the moon.
Yeah,
It's like one of those magnet floating things.
it'd be kind of cool, man.
You're like
No,
no,
it's one of those like
I
things
know
that you can
Renala
spin.
balled up inside of it.
you're like no, I don't want the moon. I want the moon from Elden Ring from when they do the spell,
Yeah, dude.
and you hold them next to each other. It's like
The same thing.
the same thing.
You know, it'd be cool a statue, of Melania versus Radon.
The one I do really like the collector's edition they had
Like this right here, man. How sick would right here? How sick would that?
the
be?
moon. Yeah, that would
Such
be
a pretty.
yeah.
But
cool
in order to
spell.
add some substance to it, like your tarnish would have to be underneath it or something.
Yeah,
Don't even need
summoning
a tarnish.
it. Just the
Fuck
moon.
'em, just literally the moon.
That's so basic.
Sell for $20.
But the
Just
collector's edition of the main game had Melania's helmet,
Yeah,
and that's a cool helmet in my opinion.
that's cool. I never wear it though.
No.
I don't like.
George R.R. Martin wore it in a famous photo.
I don't like. I don't like any helmet items that add hair.
I know, I hate that.
Like I would like Mikola or Melania's helmet, but with the hair my character has.
Yeah,
You know, like that's why I don't like. I wish that the Elden Lord's crown was
horribly.
just the crown.
Not
like
his-
why did it have to be his whole braided
Yeah.
hair? You know,
I guess for people who want to role play,
as Horlu.
it's Horlu.
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 $250.
Yeah, for that Mesmer, you want him? So the expansion is how much, Kyle? 30?
40.
40? So that means $110.
$200.
Yeah. 210.
No. Oh, I guess it does come with the expansion code. So
Yeah.
It's base game's not included.
yeah,
That would make sense.
physical.
You get an
art
art book, 40 pages, and the Ring of Mikola bonus gesture.
You know what I seriously thought about buying? Fati Video, and
His like lore book.
not his lore book, but like in it's not really him, but he's the one that kind of orchestrated everything. Is that Soul Arts book, where it's all the
I know
like
which one
this
you're talking about.
different like I guess like fan art. Really, it's not canon, but like it looks like legit. I thought about buying it, and it's really thick.
There with Melania's helmet. Right there. No.
looks like one of those pop
$30.
things.
It looks like the puppet thing that you can.
like the pops.
Pop Funk.
No, I
Funko
mean like
Pops.
Funko
in
Pop.
game the puppets that like Celavis.
Like Ronnie.
Yeah, like Ronnie or
When she's a little puppet and you put her in a jar.
and you put her and she like you have to talk to her like 3 times or she's like, oh, fine. Like I guess I'm actually
That was.
look at
kinda weird.
Blythe down there.
It's another Funko Pop of Blythe.
Where?
Go down.
Yeah, right there.
See, Blythe's outfit is my favorite. Hands bar none.
I'm not a huge fan of like the big flowy capes on outfits, but it is all right.
That's not what his mask looks like at all.
Well, that's him.
He's not wearing a mask. He
that's
just
his
is.
face.
Well, I mean, I guess you get his helmet though, right? And
You
it
can
looks like-
get
get-
his mask like
Yeah.
It's like an imposter mask, though.
but him, he just is half wolf.
He ain't that dark.
I mean,
This
No.
is very dark.
That doesn't look quite right, you're right.
he doesn't.
His
look
sword
like a wolf.
doesn't look like that either, the hilt of it.
Asterion. Do you guys like him?
No. Not
Or what's his name?
He kills us.
In-
He's talking about from Baldur's Gate?
No, no.
I'm like,
Who's the Sif's owner
What?
from Dark
Sif's
Souls?
Yeah.
owner. Who the fuck is Sif?
Artorias.
Artorias.
Yeah.
No idea who that is.
Look up Artorias.
Artorias is one of the best bosses
I
in
love-
Souls games.
I love his design.
Oh, this guy?
He's legit.
Too legit. Too legit. to
Right, and
quit.
he is Sif's owner.
Mm-hmm. Another example of he was like dead in the main game, and you like go into like a memory or whatever and face him. That was the first ever FromSoft like DLC that like really set the pace on like this is what this
We're-
company does, you know.
That's what we're gonna do.
Well, and then there was another announcement in regards to From Software where they said that Dark Souls 2 was like their best
Yeah.
game.
Well, he didn't say it was their best game,
It's the game he most liked.
but Miyazaki, he said, well, for two reasons. One, he was a supervisor on that project. He wasn't the game director, so he oversaw it. But at that time, he was working heavily on Bloodborne, so he wasn't involved as much as he normally is. But he said that he doesn't believe that they would have Elden Ring without Dark Souls 2, because Dark Souls 2 was the first time that they like.
broke to the mainstream.
Well, not that, but like gameplay wise, they weren't. It wasn't linear. It was very open ended. It was quasi open world, where like you can approach it in different ways, and that was not the structure of Dark Souls 1 or 3. And he said that they drew a lot of inspiration from Dark Souls 2 that made them understand like how can they get away with doing this type of game but in an open world environment. And a lot of like Dark Souls 2 fans were like finally like yes.
Vindicated.
Yeah, because Dark Souls 2 has always been like the black sheep of the From Software. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that it was the only one that he didn't personally direct himself. He just oversaw and supervised. And so the fan base is always like, it's not a true
Purists.
Souls game.
Shut the fuck
You
up.
know? But he talked very highly of that game. And he said it benefited from fresh and different perspectives. And I think that you and I will have a soft spot for that game forever because it's the one that got us into the From Software universe.
I've talked to a couple of Souls fans. I work with one now, and he said the same thing. Like 2 is probably his favorite of the series, besides Elden Ring, of course. But which is, I feel like it does get a lot of public hate, which is interesting.
It's like I said, it's just because it's the only one that Miyazaki
Purist fan base.
didn't personally oversee. And I think that lore-wise and story-wise, it was like almost completely separate from Dark Souls 1 and 3. Dark Souls 1 and 3 were interconnected in a lot of ways. The same story, and Dark Souls 2 was kind of its own thing, story-wise. But I mean, how many people are like
I love
really
the
playing?
story.
Like, I'm playing this for the story. Man, I went back and played Dark Souls 2 a couple days ago, and dear God, we are spoiled by Elden Ring.
God, yes.
Dark Souls 2
So unforgiving.
is so unforgiving.
like 5-minute boss run backs, dude.
Fighting in it is tough. Jumping is non-existent.
Non-existent.
It's so bad. Like, I'm full sprint. I'm like, first off, I'm like clicking like X to jump, and I'm like, why am I not jumping? And I'm like, oh my God, I
You
forgot.
have to
I gotta-
press
Yeah, so
circle,
you got to
right?
double tap circle if you're playing on console or on PlayStation. And your character, I kid you not, gets like 2 inches off the ground. He goes,
And it's hella buggy because you have like momentum and you're like,
it's so bad. And making jumps in that game is like a skill in itself. If you can make a good jump in that game, it's extremely surprising if you pull it off. But man, I forgot, like, Elden Ring can be the hardest game in the From Software series, but there's so many ways to make that game way easier that you forget like what the true Souls experience was. It was just brutal.
The verticality.
No.
of Elden Ring, or
Mhm.
yeah,
Sekiro
sucks.
was the grandfather.
Oh,
for
sorry.
that.
What?
Wow. You need to play Sekiro.
Elden Ring kind of took bits and pieces from, like, you definitely can tell it was the game that stood on shoulders of giants. Like
Like GTA 5, it really drew inspiration.
Yeah.
From.
Especially GTA Online.
yeah. But like no,
Xenos.
Elden Ring, all the From Software games that they had like learned, it's almost like every game they developed was like so that they can make Elden Ring.
Yeah.
If that
It
makes
culminated
sense.
in
Yeah.
that.
And now they're going to make.
The worst expansion that's ever
Ever.
been released.
Watch it be one boss, and it's Gideon. And he's just giving a speech.
And then
over it.
every other thing we saw in the trailer is all just like a cinematic cutscene that lasts like 10 minutes. And then the final boss
yeah,
is Gideon 2.
Gideon one shots Mesmer, then turns to you to fight you. Fucking,
Yeah.
I knew you'd come. Stay there.
I know in my bones. Then I can kill you a second time, bitch.
A tarnished cannot become a lord.
Dylan, where can people find us?
They can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, any major podcast listening platform, as well as YouTube right here, where hopefully you're watching us live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And come join us for a lot of fun. And, remember, with a good KD, you get the...
Dub.